Nicholas. I am in agreement with all the commissioners up here, and I'll give you a little history. Kathi and I probably worked on half the neighborhood communities in your neighborhood. So we completely understand what we designed and constructed there more than anything else. And the reason I asked John that question is because the golf course was designed as part of the neighborhood more than anything else. And it was a huge benefit to the people that are living there today. And that's really important to understand. And I, along with everybody else on this commission, will be looking for the highest quality of development here. Let me go into some other details. I've worked on anywhere from probably 15 to 20 master plan communities in the county of San Diego, so I'm pretty knowledgeable in regards to that, and my expectations are going to be way up there more than anything else. I'll throw some numbers out to you right now. There's 167 acres, and my expectation is going to be that, and hopefully it's going to be lower than this, that you only develop 20 to 40% of that, and the rest of it is going to be open space. And the way you develop it is that you do not create any more conflict, especially vehicular, in regards to how you design this project. I have to be very careful that I don't tell you how to design this whole thing, but those are some of the criteria that I see. One of the concepts that has worked very well in the past, but it has yet to be done in quantity, is the cluster development more than anything else, because that blends in with the access that you're going to be looking for. And along with that, the housing is important. That's what's going to, make this project feasible. Along with that is all the other amenities that the community is looking for, because they're losing 167 acres of open space, that they have enjoyed, and many of them have paid, as they said, $30,000 to enjoy that. And it's very important that you keep that consistent throughout all the 18 holes, however you develop that. And that has to be interconnected, both from pedestrian point of view, bicycles, and recreational. And it has to be oriented to that community more than anything else. I think it's an opportunity for you to come up with a very creative project, because there's a couple of golf course closures right now, and they're trying to figure out what to do with it. I think you have the opportunity of being in the forefront of how this would be successful in regards to that. But it is really important to really address the major concern of the use of this land. I know it does have to pencil out at the end of the day more than anything else. And I'm hoping that, there's cooperation between you, the community, the city, and all the regulatory people in regards to making this occur, because I understand all the hoops that you're going to have to jump through. But at the same time, it's important that you really work with the community more than anything else. Because if you come back here, I think probably about 3 or 4 of us may still be here. So we will be watching for this in regards to the opportunity that you'll be able to provide something that is going to be very beneficial to all of you more than anything else. So I'll leave it at that right now. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, this will be one of the few times, very few times, but it'll happen again where I am in disagreement with the rest of the commission. I am not going to be able to support this initiative. We have findings that we have to make and the finding that I'm having real trouble with is two of them, is that the amendment request appears to be consistent with the goals and policy of the general plan and the community plan and any community plan specific amendment criteria. And I will quote from the community plan, page 33, under the park and open space element, that under the objectives, the incorporation of the golf course as a visual and a physical amenity which will link the natural and physical features of the community into a coherent whole. That was the basis of this community plan. That golf course was a critical, coherent component linking this up, and seeing it potentially chopped up into who knows what, we have no idea. I just think that is very inconsistent with the community plan, and it's not just a small change. It changes the entire character of that plan. So I can't make that finding. Finding number two, the proposed amendment provides additional public benefit to the community as compared to the existing land use designation, density, intensity, range, plan, policy, or site design. I can't make that finding either. There's not enough information that was provided to us where we can make that finding. So I totally agree, though, with a lot of the statements the rest of the commission has made. I'm very sympathetic with the need for more housing. All my votes have always been to support more housing when that came up, but to me, only when it really made sense, and this really doesn't make sense to me. We talk about the people who've lived here, and we say, hey, you got to have your fair share. Yeah, I agree with that, but in this case, these really aren't NIMBYs here. These are people who have lived in this community for up to 20 years where this golf course has been present. And after all that time, I just don't think it's right that now they're going to be locked into a situation on property that is already designated as open space. It is agriculture, but it's been that way 20 years. So I can't support it, but I think it's going that way. So I will say to the developer, the potential developer, I know it's an option. I'll be here, I hope, hoping that I get reappointed. If not, you'll probably be better off, but I will be, if it does come back, I will be looking for that objective to be met, that this open space that's there now, the golf course, will be a cohesive element tying the community together. And it's going to be real difficult to get my vote if we're talking about chopping it up into little development pieces. So, but I'll leave it there, and I will not make the motion. I'll wait for someone. No, sorry, sir. I'm sorry. The public testimony has been closed. I apologize.
The ship has not sailed,
Please, sir. Thank you very much. And can I entertain a motion? Sorry.
I will make a motion. I'm going to move that we adopt staff's recommendation and initiate the plan amendment process. And I'll wait for a second, but then I'd like to.
I'll second.
So I just kind of want to go on the record respectfully disagreeing with you, Commissioner Hofman. I guess the reason that I can make the finding that you're struggling with, or at least one of them, is this: if a golf course is no longer a golf course, how can we force it to remain a golf course? Which I get is a very existential question, but
it's a very, very good question. And one of the things that's factored in my decision was the options that I saw presented before that could keep it an open space. It doesn't have to be a golf course.
I understand that. To me, it comes back to private property rights and the fact that if this was a community amenity and the HOA was actually coming to us and trying to redevelop it, I would have a very different take on this than when it's held by a private property interest. All the adjacent owners knew that it wasn't a community entity. And I I can't support disallowing a property owner from doing something that they're able to do under the code. So not trying to debate it with you, just wanted to make sure my point was on the record.
Commissioner Whalen.
I just take a little different spin. What I would say is that, assuming the initiation is granted, the developer should be trying to satisfy Commissioner Hofman's issues. That's the way, rather than saying, you can't make the findings, you want to make the findings, but you're not there. So they should be making an effort to get you there. And to me, that means when I look at holes 9, 18, 17, that's an area where density might work. But on the other hand, some of these narrow ones like 6, or I think it's misnumbered, the narrow ones should be open space. And how that works out, how that's paid for, I mean, I don't think you heard anybody resisting how many units would go here. And by that time, but the city should probably have the impact fee recalculations done, so you put in smaller units and not have the burden of having to pay the big fees. And frankly, I'm of a certain demographic slice with the people in the audience, and smaller units and having my kids near me would be a good thing. So I would keep an open mind. Nobody's told you they disagree with what you're saying. Approach perhaps, but I would say we have a second on the motion, and we'll call the question and we'll go from there, unless anybody has anything else.
Before we call that question, Commissioner Austin would like to speak.
Yeah, as I said before, this was one that I was really struggling with because I've played that golf course a lot, and I can imagine living there or growing up there. And I am very sympathetic to what our acting chairman has said as well. And so you've heard it several times. I'm just going to read it one more time. I probably will be here unless you take a long time to get back, because I just was reappointed. And we're going to demand that this is one of the most innovative, sensitive projects in San Diego and sets a model, a very, very high bar for San Diego, and that these homeowners at the end of this will be pleased enough that they're going to get behind you. Because without that, I think there's plenty of creative solutions could apply here. It's difficult to assume that's going to happen, but I think you've heard it loud and clear. You come back with something that just gobbles up those fairways, doesn't provide buffers, is not creative, and doesn't also allow for housing where the biggest need is, which is in middle income. You're not going to get approved, but I'll support the motion. Thank you.
Okay, if there's no other discussion, hold on just a minute. Tell me when you're ready. Please vote. And the vote passes, 1 dissent, and I am voting for Commissioner Peerson. And with that, we will take a 5-minute break.